Hello, Southern Oregon. This is Rogue Political Orphans. How y'all doing tonight?
I'm Ryan Mallory.
And I'm Mary Wallace. Great to be here with you guys. Ryan, you've got your finger on the pulse of all that's going on in Southern Oregon. Do we have any big exciting
That's a neat trick I do to make people think I have my pull.
You hear things. You hear things.
Yeah, I definitely. People feed me a lot of information. I feel pretty blessed to catch and be able to distribute, and that's part of what I do is distribute information, whether that be Southern Oregon First or Scanner Group or ThiefHunter Labs, different kinds of information in each of those. But my career was in information services type stuff and managing businesses like that. So I feel like that's a calling for me. So often I publish things like the rallies and things like that, obviously pretty involved with those, and we had one on Saturday.
Yeah, that was awesome.
There's a video. You can go watch it at Southern Oregon First. It's pretty cool. I was pretty proud of Southern Oregon and how they turned out.
Really great energy down there. I was down there with my husband, and everyone's just so positive and a sense of togetherness and community, that all rallies and protests and they should all be that positive.
The vast majority of those pictures in the wrap-up video you took. You're a good photographer.
Oh,
Do you tell people?
Thank you.
Yeah, very good photographer. Anyway, I use some of them as odds and ends when I'm designing things. It's awesome to have those kind of pictures from something happy and patriotic.
Right. There's some of those signs that talk about creative. Did you see the lady in the skeleton outfit?
I did.
I laughed so hard. If you haven't seen that, you should go find that picture.
Exactly. She turned out for it, and it felt very much like the Hispanic holiday. That's the day before Halloween. Day of the Dead. Yeah, mm-hmm. It looked like one of those costumes, but it was a medical jab skeleton. It was pretty interesting, I thought.
Yeah, lots of creativity there.
So what's going on right now on the 8th of this month of October, or this month by the time you see it, the 8th of October, the gentleman that Ryan Schroed, who played with his brother, played bass and guitar on Vogel Plaza.
Double bass,
yes.
That is a
big bass. Yeah. They played classical music for more than 100 people there for sure, maybe even a couple hundred, and some people came down with signs. But he was playing that in protest because he had won a seat, which is a big deal, with the Rogue Valley Symphony. And right before he was scheduled to play, they sent him a letter saying he had to show proof of vaccination. He's got religious convictions where he didn't want to do that. There wasn't any opportunity for an exemption, so he walked. But said, I worked hard for it. I'm still going to show up and play in protest on the plaza. And the plaza's a public park, so we can do that.
That is awesome.
It was pretty fun. You were there.
I was there. I was actually raised in a family of classical musicians. Ooh. And like when he busted out Bach on that double bass, that takes a lot of skill, and a lot of reach too. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
His hands moving. I watched for probably 10 minutes of just his hands moving.
It's just like poetry. It's beautiful.
Fast and graceful.
And his brother. His brother was badass on the guitar. They made quite a combination.
Had a lot of personality, too.
Right. He was down there at the rally, too. And he's so positive. Honk for freedom. I don't know his name. I'm going to find out his name. Yeah. Good energy, good people.
So they're going to play the 8th on Vogel Plaza again, 6:30. It's in protest of mandates, but whether you care about mandates or masks or anything like that or not, it's a free concert on the street. If you haven't experienced something like that, totally worth it.
Absolutely. Bring a blanket or a chair. In the fam, it's totally family friendly. I'm going to bring my kids down to watch.
I should just say out loud, if you don't like it, we don't care. And we care about you. But if it's not your thing, then just leave it alone. Let everybody else have their thing, and we'll let you have your thing. I guess I'm kind of annoyed because I went through some stuff relative to that today.
Oh, really? What happened?
Yeah. So last night, and this would be Wednesday night, about 11 or something, I got a message from him with the flyer for the new poster saying, hey, would you circulate around it a little bit? And that's kind of what I do. Some things I'm intimately involved in. Other things I just think they're good stuff and I circulate them. And it's not all about protest or anything like that. Sometimes I'm circulating charity events. Sometimes I'm circulating vector controls, free tire drop off, or things for the city or the county that I hear about, or sometimes they ask me about. People are always asking me to circulate things because if you have a little bit of a following or some groups or things like that, you can get the word out to a lot of people for free. And so I kind of make that like part of some of my community services. I'm going to hold some of these things up. And that's one that I decided to hold up about 12:15. I posted it to Southern Oregon First, and I was tired. And I was like, I don't have time to circulate it to some of the other groups right now in my profile. I just need to go to bed because I worked hard. By 7:05, I had a message. And you know what? I'm just going to say it out loud. It was from Julian Cordell, who is the chairman of the Medford Parks Commission. And he wanted to know, and Julie and I, I've liked the guy and I've not liked the guy at different times, and I'm sure he feels the same way. Julian and I are kind of at political odds these days, so I kind of told him let's just not know each other for a while, but he felt it necessary to message me saying that I needed to go get a permit for the street performance protest. I wasn't ready to hear that before coffee.
No, I can imagine not. So wait. Isn't that like what code enforcement takes care of?
Yeah, code enforcement are a real cop, Code enforcement guys are real cops. There's code enforcement that, if you're too loud,
my brother's
they might talk to you about that.
Officer,
so okay, you get it. So, and we interviewed one of the leaders of code enforcement on the ThiefHunter Labs podcast, and they do a bunch of work, but not necessarily have to wrestle anybody to the ground because they're disorderly and whatnot. Right. There's a lot of business that goes on in a city and a county. Tons of business that we don't even know about, and it's not all coming down on the citizens. There's stuff that needs to be taken care of, and those guys and gals go out and do those things, and that's who I would expect contact me. Matter of fact, because the last one was kind of last minute.
The last concert.
The last concert was kind of last minute, and I circulated around, and people had a lot of questions and stuff, and I tried to help and answer. So I guess they assumed that it was my event, and I was just advertising it. So what we ended up with was an officer called about it, because they didn't know anything about it. Usually when we're doing the rallies, I let the law enforcement know ahead of time.
You're really good about that.
Kind of make sure that the locations are okay and we're not going to stop any emergency traffic or anything like that. We try to be respectful and tell everybody to follow the laws.
Responsible.
So, and the guy that was going to play, and if I accidentally call him a kid, it's because I'm old and he's very young, but he's not a kid. He's a young adult for sure. Smart guy. He gets this call, and he was like, I don't know what to do about it. My phone's about ready to die.
You got a call from the police?
Yes. I'm driving in. He lives way out in the sticks. I could go to my dad's house and use his phone maybe. And I said, do you mind if I just talk to him? I kind of like cops and do stuff with cops. And I would talk to them. They're usually just looking for information to make sure that they can cover and have enough people on staff, and they maybe want to know how many people that show up, and I can tell them we don't know as well as anybody. He was fine with it. I talked to the officer, and the officer was an absolute blessing. He totally got it. He understood that we weren't there to cause any problems. He was just calling because he didn't know if they needed more cops, so he didn't know if it was going to be like a Sante, like 2,000 people show up or something. No, I didn't think so. Maybe a few hundred if we're lucky. It was kind of last minute. And, he said there's no problem with that, and it's a protest, and no permit needed, and those kind of things. We talked about it. I want to make sure that it wasn't a permit problem because I knew there would be amplification, but we're talking very small amplifier. It's not making out of that area, really. I was sitting pretty far away, and I was at the edge of making sure that I heard. So I was surprised to get that from the Parks Department. I realize it's a park, but I've been on...
From the head of the Parks Department?
No.
Okay.
So the head of the Parks Department would be the director of Parks and Recreation. That'd be Rich Rosenthal, and he's the... he took the job after Brian Siltgen became the city manager, and Brian used to be the head of Parks and Recreation. We've got a great Parks and Recreation department in Medford. Those guys are in charge of parks. There's a citizen commission that's appointed by the city council, and they are an advising body. So they discuss things, they find things out, they do research, and they give their recommendations to city council on things relative to parks. So it's a recommending body. It's definitely, I'm straight up telling you, it is not a code enforcement authority.
Wait. A recommendation body that gives their recommendations to the city is contacting citizens?
Yeah, I served on a parks commission in Talent for a few years. I wanted to do a little civic duty, and I thought that ought to be an easy one. Everybody likes parks, right? There's a lot that goes on, and that committee, I imagine, handles lots of stuff, but they definitely do not handle enforcement of parks code or any other code. So, I mean, like I said before my coffee, I might have been a little rough with you, Julian. I hope you see this. I'm sure you will. But it was inappropriately placed. So I needed to call and talk to somebody about that, because if we have that in our citizenry going on where there are political reasons for people that see themselves as having some power but don't really have that power, the people that have the power really need to know.
Right. And, you know, there's a lot of things I don't believe with that I see people gathering and speaking out for, and as much as my ideologies don't align with those, man, I support that 100%. I think it's the most beautiful thing about this country is that you can peacefully assemble and protest whatever you want, rally whatever you want, and
peaceful is key.
Yeah, peaceful, and clean. Don't leave your trash or anything.
I've never had a problem with people protesting. I just have a problem when it becomes so disrespectful that they want to burn things or break things or
interfere with people's businesses.
Or abuse the police, or just like they showed up to work today. That's their big role in the whole thing. So you don't have to do all that. You can still protest without that. And most of the stuff, most of it, every bit of anything that I've ever participated in, tried to inspire, tried to advertise, it needs to be positive and within the law, or I don't want to play.
Right. You know, Julian, I've never met you. Why don't you come on down on the 8th, and I'll save a spot on my blanket for you, and we can listen to this concert together, because it sounds like it's a really cool community thing, and it sounds like if you're serving on this board, then you love your community too. So come on down and hang out with us.
I can attest to the fact that he does, because I've worked with Julian on other things. He used to be a member of Scanner Group. We used to talk. We've had lunch before, and Let Them Play, the Let Them Play movement, which is a bunch of people involved, definitely Commissioner Dyer and Jim Bosworth, one of the football coaches at South Medford High School, basically people that had, they have vested interest in kids' sports and want their kids to play sports, or they coach sports. And Julian, I hear, is a good kid soccer coach and really into soccer. So, everybody is not a villain when it comes to politics. There are good things to find in everybody.
Right.
But also, if you're going to work outside the realm of reason, then you have to be called out within the realm of reason.
Yeah, we absolutely need to be accountable for sure.
Yeah.
That's
it's a hard one. We're not usually trying to call people out individually here, but I could just imagine how bad that can be.
Well, wait a second.
There's lots of commissions and committees. Can you imagine if there were 2 or 3 people on every one that thought it was their job to reach out to individual citizens to tell them how it's supposed to be?
Oh, I have no tolerance for that.
No.
I'm a small L libertarian, so I stay out of other people's businesses, and I frankly think everyone should stay the bleep out of everyone else's businesses too, so long as they're not hurting anyone.
That's right.
And that gets kind of scary if people in positions of authority are overstepping those bounds. And I hope that's not the case. I hope it was just ill-considered. Maybe he hadn't had his coffee yet either.
I'm just going to say it was a mistake, because that's accurate.
Yeah.
Either way.
So did someone pass the information along to him, or is he trolling Southern Oregon first?
I don't know. It was about the time I had a shower and came downstairs to make coffee, and first thing, I don't know why, first thing I go look and see who's messaged me or that kind of stuff. It's because I care about people, and if somebody had a problem or something going on, I would want to help them with it. I would check to see if my kids messaged me anything, that kind of stuff, my mom. And I saw Julian, and I shouldn't have clicked on it, but I did click on it. I should have drank my coffee first, so I might have been mean to you, but happens.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. I can only guess. is Julian into the symphony, or have a friend that's a board member or something like that? I would think it would come through somebody from the symphony that doesn't want that there because it's in protest of how they handled things. But Vogel Plaza is a public park. That is not Criterion Theater. That is not the symphonies. That is a public park that you, I, and per Kate Brown transients can sleep in.
Right. I've seen all kinds of stuff go down in Vogel Plaza.
Yeah, but it's a cool little place, isn't it?
It is a super cool place. And, that last, little get-together that we had down there, man, the people are so nice. How could you even worry? Like, if we're talking about the crowd that comes down and waves the flags and listens to music, like, these are nice people. These are your
such a positive
community
thing.
members. These people would give you the shirt off their backs. And, like, as you know, my political ideologies don't necessarily align with the vast majority of people out there, and they've never been anything but kind to me. Like, can we just start believing the best of people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, honestly, I would like to see more performers in the streets. I mean, I hear people aren't working much or don't have much to do. There's a bunch of people out there that have musical talents and those kind of things. Maybe we don't want to see people with pans out like San Francisco, but I mean, what if there was just a day a few times a year that was street performer day and everybody pops out and plays some music?
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Do we have musicians listening? If we have musicians listening, we have to make this happen.
Kurt, I know some curtain climbers.
What are curtain climbers?
Oh, acrobatics from hanging.
No way!
Hanging cloth.
Those people that wrap themselves up. Oh my God, I would hang myself.
I know a lady that owns a restaurant that's very good at that, and she was actually in Southern Oregon's Got Talent when me and a bunch of people I know were putting on that show in Criterion. Interestingly enough, the final 10 performers that the public and the judges voted on would get to perform live for the #1 spot in the Criterion. Ran for about 5 years, but I guess you can't hang curtains from the sky. Probably bad choice, but there's lots of different...
lifts.
Yeah, I'd like to see a guy come down there and do a sculpture with a chainsaw live.
That would be cool too.
If that isn't Oregon,
That is so Oregon. The downtown core definitely needs some life breathed into it.
Especially now, the days of staying inside.
That's not good for you. If you're like isolating and not getting out, that's not good for you spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, physically. Like go connect with some other humans.
Take that D3. If you're not getting some sun, you're going to be an unhappy person.
Right.
And maybe have some other problems.
Mm-hmm. That's it's underlying immune issues when you don't have enough D3.
I get my son walking around outside of my house, pacing on the phone with clients and text messaging people and that kind of stuff that we were talking about. I can't sit at the desk all day. I have to get up and walk around.
Oh, I never used to be this way, but maybe it was just because I was so active in the outdoors that I was getting plenty of sun and never noticed if I wasn't. But as I got older and I was working more, in an office behind a computer, if I don't have sun on a regular basis, man, my outlook just...
Right?
Like, what do they call it? Seasonal affective disorder?
Yeah.
Like, it's bad when Klamath Falls starts looking good with their over 300 days of sunshine.
It's real. Yeah, totally. So we should tell them about this and wrap up, and I will put the poster in the video so you can see it at the end. But it's a musical protest concert #2, Friday, October 8th, 6:30 p.m. at Vogel Plaza by the Criterion, and you'll get to hear some great music from some really nice guys that have a lot of talent, and it was pretty fun. There was people with blankets spread out and sitting on the planters, and there's lots of places to sit around down there. It's kind of made as like a little stop while you're walking downtown City and Park. You can sit and play chess with the chess guy.
Right.
That sculpture's pretty cool. There's always people taking pictures.
Did you see my little dude? He's like, if we're gonna go listen to musicians, I need to dress. He put on a 3-piece suit. Like he did. He did. That was all him. He's like, I gotta have my vest, and then he was like bummed because his dress shoes didn't fit his feet anymore, so he had to wear non-dress shoes.
But you were dressed.
Right.
You were dressed for a concert event.
I hadn't had the opportunity to put on a dress in probably cool. Years. Cool. I will do my hair and makeup about twice a year, so there's one more left for the next 6 months.
You guys should come down and see this concert. It's fun. It's a short thing. Like it's an
they're
hour
also-
or so.
They're encouraging other musicians to play after their sets. So
Heck
if
yeah.
you're a musician and you want to get in on, showing the love through music, bring your instruments down.
Heck
bring your
yeah.
crazy awesome voice and come down and let's make some music and some memories and build community.
Absolutely.